nobody needs a guru, but why people need guru? Why we need to be there? Because if the calling and the crying is sincere for the Lord, there is no need of any guru. Why is there is the need of a guru? Because the calling is there, but it is not that much that the whole existence will come. It will not. Naturally, so you have to go to a guru. That's why hence a guru is needed. If you have such a sincere devotion, such a level of deep bhakti, guru is not needed. Everything will come, everything will happen. There is no need. But if that is not the case, we need a guru, because he is the only one who can guide you to that part. Because most people don't have that sincere crying calling of divine. That is the reality. Sondra, first of all, welcome to Zest to Live. How are you feeling today? And I'm really excited to have you today on the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful day this morning.
So, Sondra, we're going to talk so much about so many things today. To Tantra, to meditation, mindfulness, knowing yourself, the inner self, and finding meaning in life where people are feeling depressed, anxious. All of these things are, you're in the States. So, you know how people are living right now. It's really hard, tough. We don't know how we can pass the day and live the next morning. It's really tough, you know. So, but about you, there is so much we're going to talk. But everybody starts somewhere, and whenever I think about anybody, their journey begins from their childhood. Either it's good or it's traumatic. But I want to know, from where did your journey begin from your childhood, and where did it took you to your spiritual journey? I'm trying to understand. So tell us everything.
So let's see. I grew up in rural Idaho on a farm. I have one sibling, beautiful sister. My parents were really young when they had us, so I grew up with parents that were young. Um, and I always loved nature. And if I had times when I would be having a hard day or I would not know what to do, I'd go and be out in nature. And I write about this in my book. I had a particular tree that I loved, and I would go and lay under the tree, and the tree would just listen and share its shade and its beauty with me. And for me, that was a spiritual experience because it was, even as a child, it helped me realize that I was connected to something greater, and even if it was just a tree. So that's
Can
kind of where.
can you put the mic down, because I can hear its sound. You just put the mic down. Just put the mic
Is
down
that better?
stably. Yeah, that
Yep.
better. Just yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yep. So that's where I grew up. That's is in Idaho, rural Idaho, with one sibling and a mom and dad, and my parents are still married today, and so.
And where did your spiritual journey begin? Like, how did that begin? Like, from a regular childhood, which I can imagine, in America, and where did that your spiritual journey begin then?
Mm. Well, I asked the question. I remember being a little bit older after I'd married and wanted to have a teacher. And I just knew I needed help. And it couldn't just come from a regular teacher like in school. I knew I needed a spiritual teacher. And so I just kept asking these questions. And then I went through a school in San Francisco, a feng shui school. It took a year to become certified and teach. And I met many amazing teachers. And my first teacher was actually a Taoist priest. His name was Lu Ming. And Lu Ming taught me what meditation is and what it is not. At that time, I asked Lu Ming, I said, may I receive initiation of mantra? And Lu Ming said, no, you're not my student for that. So that was an interesting thing, that this amazing teacher put me on the path of meditation and self realization. But he was really clear that I was not his initiated student. So I practiced for many years that meditation, which is called Zowang. It means sitting and forgetting. It's a Buddhist. It's actually a Taoist meditation. It's an open eye meditation. And I just kept searching and seeking, like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I've got to find this person or this teacher or this lineage. I just kept seeking, which then led me to go to Peru, where I met and was initiated by the high mountain Keto people. They're shamans. And they gave initiation into what's called the despacho. It's a sacred cloth and ceremony. And that was a really beautiful time. That taught me about landform. It gave me a love of how energy moves in the land and how we are all connected as people to the land and the elements. And then from there, just by happenstance, one day I went to this yoga class in Dallas, Texas, actually in a gym. And I met a gentleman and I was looking to do a teacher training, a yoga teacher training. And he said there was this lady that did these and her name was Shannon. And so I went to Shannon's class and learned from her. And then it sort of all started coming together.
All of that, what you took, it said combining.
It started combining, and I was doing a lot of feng shui. I had seen over 500 clients as a feng shui practitioner in Dallas, Texas. Everyone from like dentists, doctors, attorneys, was featured in some magazines, and I really loved it. I loved feng shui because it taught me about the energy of the land and how our home and where we reside affects our energies. But then one day I decided I'd go to this yoga class, and this beautiful teacher was teaching about mantra and mantra meditation. And I studied with her for a couple, probably a year. Her name's Shannon. And learned about some of the ins and outs. So this has been 15 years ago of yoga, pranayama. And so now I'm like, wow. I really knew I wanted to be initiated formally into a tradition.
But
And
you couldn't find that person, where you could be initiated, because it's hard to find a guru in the modern world. But after that, what happened? Because I know you were desperate. That I can see right now, even that you really wanted that time that I could find the right teacher and be initiated. And it was a tough time, but what happened then?
oh, yeah, it was like this seeker in me just is not going to let me let it go. Or something inside my heart was like, no, we're going to find that lineage, like wherever that is or whatever that is. I need help. And so there's a teacher named Pandit Rajwani Tiganaya, and he's from the Himalayan Institute. And he was out promoting one of his teachings called Living Tantra. And Shannon, the yoga teacher at the time, said, let's go see Panditji in Dallas. And so Pandit came and he spoke. Now, this is interesting because this just shows you the mind can fool you. So in my mind, I thought, well, I still thought my teacher was Lu Ming, the Taoist priest, even though he said no.
Or for the
So
initiation?
for the initiation, I kind of still kept holding on, like he'll initiate, and he kept saying, no, I will not initiate you. So I went to one of Pandit's teachings, and I thought, oh, I don't know. And then the more I studied mantra with my first teacher, Shannon, I knew that was it. And so she said, if you want to be formally initiated, you can be initiated by my teacher. Her teacher is Rod Stryker. Or you can be initiated by his Grand Master, which is Pandit Rajwani Tiganaya. And I said, I'll take the Grand Master. So she said, call this gentleman. His name is Blair. And so very mysteriously, I just called this guy I had never met and said, hi, this is Sondra Harper, and I'd like to receive initiation. Which most people
This was
don't
on
do
a
that.
phone call. This was on a phone call.
Yeah, I said, I know Panditji is coming to town. I would like to receive initiation. And he said, okay, come to my home on Sunday. There's a chance you won't be initiated because they don't initiate everyone. And I said, oh, okay.
What is
I'm
the
gonna
what
go.
was what was it like? Okay, I know you're going to talk about it, but what were those? Because that's what I was thinking. Initiate anybody, that everybody would be there sitting on the line. Okay, initiate me, initiate me. But what are the criterias that they look into, like when they initiate somebody? At least from because every guru has their own method. But what was their criterias like?
Well, so there's a great book called The Mastery of Initiation and Mantra that Panditji wrote. And it's all about that sometimes they know like that's not my student or it is my student. And it's a very mysterious thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like Lu Ming knew. So there
Yes,
I have.
that like this is a thing that I would like to highlight. So Ramakrishna Paramhansa, the guru of Vivekanand, so it is very common that a lot of people used to come to him for initiation during that time because he was getting widespread fame in Bengal, and almost hundreds of people, 50s of people used to come to initiation, and he used to never reject. So he used to see them. There's like he never used to say, okay, don't bring him. He used to bring him in, sit 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hear him, talk to him, do all of that. He never rejected anyone who came to see him, but he never accepted all of them, and he rejected some of them. And there was one of his disciples who was already initiated by him. He was kind of curious, because he heard some of these disciples, they said the same thing, but he accepted one and rejected the other one. And he thought, why the other one is selected, the other is. He said, why did Paramhansa ji, like the Gurudev, rejected him? And he was kind of curious. That question was taken in mind when those two disciples that were not initiated rejected. They were got away. The disciple of Ramakrishna asked Ramakrishna, why?
Welcome to Luvo. This is your home screen, giving you access to all features like steps counter, water intake, mood check, heart rate, sleep, and gratitude. You can also monitor your steps, heart rate, and sleep by connecting the app with your smartwatch. Experience live meditation, yoga, and healthy eating, all of which is coming soon. Download our free app and start living your best life.
Why did you rejected those people? Why? What was the problem with them? I could not see any problem, but I am a disciple. I'm very stupid. Okay, I'm very stupid. You are the guru. You know much more than me. But please explain to me why. So he said, that I know, but it's not me who knows. It's her, like the Devi, and she
Mm-hmm.
tells me that I get the feeling that this is right or this is not right, and these
Mm-hmm.
these are the ones who need to be initiated, and these are the ones who are not going to be initiated. It's not in my control to select. So it is very that, but I don't know if that's the method of it, but maybe I could get. These are some of the very deep things, publicly saying such things are. I'm controlling some things, and I know few stuff, few stuff, but you have to keep the public platform things low. But we can go on and on, but go ahead.
Well, it's a really mysterious thing, I believe. Um, it's not really that your logical mind can reason it out. It's like, why are we born into some countries? Why were you born in India and I was born in the United States? Why were you born male and I was born female? It's just so much more mysterious and vast and full of grace. And um, absolutely something so much more loving has the power to do that than just the common human mind. So yeah.
So what happened after that? Like when you like you got the call that go ahead. I'm really curious to what happened with your first encounter with him in person.
Um, okay. Well, so it was in a home. It was in someone's home, and uh, there's probably 70 people there, and somebody this is really funny, but somebody said, Panditji, I have a question. And Panditji said, okay. And they said, how do I make sure I meditate every day? And Panditji said, okay, I'll tell you, but you have to promise not to laugh. And we're all like, what's he going to say? And so he says, you have to make sure that you go to the bathroom in the morning. And we were all like, what? And he said, yes, good digestion is key for meditation. So that was like one of the first introductions to him, is how sweet and funny and very, very intelligent and bright he is. So, and then I was initiated.
So, what you said about the bathroom, I don't think that was a very kind of a joke. Maybe it was, but
No,
in
it was
that
no
sense,
joke.
it was no joke, because in
No.
reality, that in a yogic practice, when your stomach is full, you cannot do meditation. You have to keep it more empty and empty. And when you're doing a sadhana specifically, you have to maybe fast for a long time. But it's not because you have to impress a deity or something. No, that is not the
No.
reason. The reason is that if you consume the food, the energy, the prana is being taken by the food's digestion inside, and it cannot be used otherwise for other things like the sadhana. And once there is no food, you can use that energy. And that's why it says when you're doing your daily sadhana, your stomach should be empty, very empty, least empty. This is a yogic, very ancient, if I have to say, but this is a very common thing. And I know about it, that you have to have an empty stomach, even not water, nothing. It's very empty. It will go deeper. You can do it with the food. It's not like you're not, but it will not go that deeper once you don't have the food.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and there's certain asanas and kriyas and bandhas that you absolutely can't practice if you have food in your stomach, because you can harm your lower digestive
So true.
tract. So it wasn't a joke. And yet I think people kind of thought it was funny, because in the West, we don't really talk about how our digestion of anything actually affects how we are in the world.
Eat
So,
anything, drink anything. That's the culture, right, in the West.
well,
We
it is. And it's, yeah. So, I mean, for some people,
Not for
not me.
everybody, I'm sure. Yeah, but after the initiation, I mean, I'm not saying in a that way, but everybody has some, if you recall, when you're not in the enlightening stage, you expectations in that sense. I'm going to learn this, or he's going to teach me that, or I know this, he will definitely confirm this or reject this. All these thoughts are going, because you are initiated by the guru, and you have your own beliefs that are going to be shattered. So, what did Panditji taught you or tell you? Like, I'm kind of curious, what was the journey with him like, being under his guidance?
Well, so I'm still under his guidance. Um, and even after he leaves his body, I'll still be under his guidance. So it doesn't end upon their body death. I'll still be their student. Have been for many,
Forever
many, many,
bond. Forever.
many lives. Um, just okay. So in the beginning, it was, um, I would go to the Himalayan Institute and I would practice, and I would go to his teachings 3 or 4 times a year. And I even went to the Mahakumbh Mela in 2012. And that was really beautiful. But so Panditji has a lot of students worldwide, um, and it is a living tradition. So getting audience sometimes is not granted for people, but I've learned over the years that just being at the grounds and learning from him at HI in Pennsylvania has been a beautiful process. But he's the one. He's taught me so many amazing practices. And then one of his students named Blair taught me all of the ancillary practices to lead a healthy, happy life as a householder. Like getting up on time, going to bed on time, eating proper food at the right times, mindfully eating, and then just the contemplation of one's own heart and mind. So it's been a beautiful journey. It still is. So yeah.
you know you studied a practice under him and learned a lot about him, which is called Shri Vidya Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense, and now we're talking about Tantra. And
Mm-hmm.
in Tantra, in the West, has been very misunderstood in a lot of ways. And also there is a lot of types of tantras. This is the first thing to be understood. There are just not, people think tantra just means this one category, but it is very wrong. Tantra, like most of the traditions, has many layers, many foundations, many cultures combining it. There is Buddhist Tantra, there is the Hindu Tantra's way, and there are
Mhm.
other Aghori Tantra also, which is practiced by some the Aghori community, and there are some
Mhm.
other small communities like the Kashmiri, and all of those things are also there. But the Shri Vidya tradition, which is for the Devi, that I personally know. So let's talk a little bit about that. And before we dive into that, which is a very deep topic, what is Tantra basically? If you have to explain to the Western audience who's listening to us now, who have never even heard the term Tantra, what is Tantra and what is Tantra not?
Hmm. So, Tantra has two schools, left and right hand. So, I practice right hand Tantra, which it is not what the West has talked about. Left hand Tantra, they use meat, alcohol, and sometimes sex as a way to achieve enlightenment. That is left hand Tantra. It's still practiced a lot. And there are places in Kamakya in India, in Calcutta. Um, and I think where the West has gotten this is confused is that they got the energy centers a little bit off, and they kind of think that Tantra means sex, and it actually doesn't. Tantra, by definition, means to weave together through expansion. So I practice right hand Tantra, which is where we use our own mind and body as the altar by which we practice our meditation. So it's internal. Most of our offerings are internal. We do have a fire offering externally to the Devis. But we are, here's the thing about it. If you really want to get into the schools of Tantra, I highly suggest you study with Pandit Rajmani Tiganayat because he knows all the schools of Tantra. And he teaches the right hand Sri Vidya Tantra, which is a divine mother tradition. And the other thing that I think Westerners need to understand is true teachings are those that open the most hearts and calm the most minds for the longest period of time. So if we can get out of the way all of this competition of who we were initiated by or what lineage we come from or how we practice or what techniques we use, it's the name of the game is how many hearts can you open and how many minds are calmed by your words, your thoughts, your deeds, your actions, and for the longest period of time. Because what we know in the West is that if being critical and angry and resentful and greedy and all the things that most of our societies are struggling with, if that worked, we would all be free. We would all be living in a happy society. And those things are just not sustainable. So we practice a lot of self-reflection, self-discipline, but discipline means we discipline ourselves with love. We don't discipline, we approach everything with a sense of like, this is an offering,
Compassion, compassion,
compassion,
love, you
love, and
know,
kind. Yep.
and I also like to clarify this because so people don't get the wrong idea, because we have to completely educate them that Shri Vidya, as she mentioned, you practice the right hand Shri Vidya, but there is also the left hand Shri Vidya, the same tradition, but they have the both hands. The same mother, but they have the both hands, because everybody has their own approach of weighing to go. And obviously there is the left hand, then there is the right hand, but the West only knows about the left. And because they and they picked it out. And there was a book, I don't remember the name, it is about Tantra. I forgot the name again because I'm very bad with names. It talks about these methods that Tantra gave about sex, that how we can do certain activities and all the things. And the book title is related, if it is, I think it's called All About Tantra. And all about Tantra, the book is about how to control your sexuality, how to extend your duration in bed. I mean, this is not Tantra. They just pick it out few things from the Tantra and point it in the book and showcasing Tantra that it is sex, which is not it. It is not centered around sex. Yes, it was practice. It is one part of Tantra, but it is not the complete Tantra. And let me remind you, by nature, if you know what is Tantra, in nature, ritual is Tantra. Any kind of worship is tantra. You know it, I know it. Any kind of ritual or worship, any kind means any. Even if you're going to the temple offering flowers, it is tantric. In nature, we call it tantric, right? So this is to be also understood, but people don't have that much knowledge, and they get one information from one place, as you said, from the wrong person, and they accept it, and all the problem starts happening. And in the West, those gurus who came, most of them practice the left hand tantra. So even give it more wrong ideas. Like I'm not name, but if I had to, I can name few, but they all came with the left hand one and misguided people on the left hand. They didn't told them there is a right hand too, which you practice. So, uh, can you talk a little bit more about the left and right hand, maybe?
Well, I can talk more about the right hand because that's the one I practice. But right hand is more about sattvic practices. So in yoga, we have sattva, tantra, sattvic, rajas, and tamas, right? So sattvic is light, rajas is usually more competitive in nature, and tamas is like a dull or slower energy. And it's balancing all of these energies, right? But these are sattvic practices. They are to raise one's awareness to a higher source of reality. That's why they are all about compassion and love, and they're about kindness. They're about uplifting and sustaining societies. They're not about doing things that are dark or secret. They are so yeah. That's that's so
Those cult things and doing insidely all of those
no,
activities, it's not about that, at all, so
no.
people need to research more. But your first guru who didn't initiate you, but you consider like the first guru, he taught you, it was a he, right? I can so it was a he, so who he taught
Yes,
you about meditation. So he told you what is meditation and what is meditation not. And as
yes.
this is a Luvo original podcast, we talk all day about meditation, because that's the app. App has a lot of meditation, guided meditation. So please enlighten me also. I think I would like to know, because I know a little bit, but I'm always open to more information from people like you. What is meditation and what is not meditation?
Well, so meditation. Um, so we like so we like to think in the West that meditation is listening to an app or listening to a guided meditation, and that's good. Those are all amazing, wonderful places to start until we can become one pointed with our mind and our awareness and our breathing, and we can focus on one thing, whether it be our breath. For some, it's a mantra. Um, and what he taught me, meditation, is not something that you do. It's just a way that you allow,
It
which is,
happens.
it
It happens.
happens.
It
You're
does
not
not
the
need to be
doer.
done. It happens.
It happens. And you do need human intention to sit quietly and focus your mind on. That's why I teach the breathing first, because I know that if you can learn how to connect your awareness, your greater awareness to your breath first and calm your breathing. Is your breath calm, deep, even, smooth, continuous, and quiet? That way then that you've now connected to something. It's really, the mind is elusive, right? It in the says that the mind wanders far and wide when it is awake and returns to itself in sleep. May my mind be filled with auspicious thoughts, right? You can't pin the mind down. You can only get the mind with the breath. And then once you connect the body, the mind, and the breath together, now you have a chance to bring the mind into one focus, one centralized focus. And meditation is not imagination. People don't like to hear that, but it's not your imagination. And it's not your doing. It's where you bring all of what you understand yourself to be, your pranic awareness, your body, your breathing, and your mind into one central focus.
What you said, I think I agree a lot that meditation is not imagination. But
Mm-mm.
interestingly, that I would like to add also this, that in Tantra, there is also a tantric practice where they use imagination to concentrate. But that is a very rare community, but it is there. That they can use the mind to connect. Even the mind, so every tool can be used if you want to use. That definitely the ironic way that is you cannot use the mind is. But my question is very that like, how do we know that we have connected or the mind is not? I mean, okay, we can say though we are not having any thoughts, that now we are in a no mind state, but is that really? I mean, how do we know even that is not an illusion? I mean, people have strange ideas, and not during meditation, after it, like something I experienced. Was this real, or for the first time they experienced this, I don't know, I call it the strange joy, the first glimpse, which we use the word. What is that feeling?
Mm. Well, so the Yoga Sutra, verse 133, if you know Yoga Sutra,
Patanjali.
Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Um, so there's a state called Vishoka, and Vishoka is the state of sorrowless joy. And it does reside in all humans. They just need a pathway to get there. And so that joy is innate. We are born as that joy. That gets just covered by all of our unhelpful tendencies. And it's almost like a smoke over a light, or it's like a covering over this beautiful light. And those tendencies, we tend to believe that that's what the mind is meant for, but it's actually not. We are more than that. We're more than our tendencies. That joy is innate in all humans, and it's a gift for all humans. And it's not achieved, it's just simply realized. Now, you do need someone to put you on the path of meditation to find that. You can't just, you could probably get there yourself, but it's almost like, why would you climb Everest without help? So that's why
Most,
I'm,
this is again, I like to quote Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa, because I think today I'm hearing a lot of his quotes in my mind. Maybe that is coming. It was asked to him that by one of his disciple that, please tell me, Ramakrishna, you are my guru, but does everybody need a guru? That was a question one of his disciples, and he answered no. But then he answered, why is that somebody needs it and somebody needs it not? Like, and he answered, he was like a crazy man, right? Ramakrishna was a crazy man, and people know it. And he said, he said like this, I can tell you, nobody needs a guru, but why people need guru, why we need to be there? Because if the calling and the crying is sincere for the Lord, there is no need of any guru. Why is there is the need of a guru? Because the calling is there, but it is not that much that the whole existence will come. It will not, naturally. So you have to go to a guru. That's why hence a guru is needed. If you have such a sincere devotion, such a level of deep bhakti, guru is not needed. Everything will come, everything will happen, there is no need. But if that is not the case, you need a guru, because this is the only one who can guide you to that part, because most people don't have that sincere crying calling of divine. That is rare. Ramakrishna himself needed a guru. He was taught by two people himself. So you can see he learned so much. He was a special, but in that sense that he was born with some things and all of that. It was maybe that's one thing, but he himself was gone through guru. Vivekananda needed guru. Great people need gurus, and guru has been given utmost importance in all of the Eastern cultures, even Buddhism. Buddha himself never got a guru, but he gave importance to it. He thought, okay, I didn't need it. Maybe it was my path. That does not mean everybody will not need it. That's why he himself taught so many people after he attained enlightenment. you know but yes, as you said, finding that right thing. But let me add one thing that I have heard from one of my very close persons that I know, that it is not always necessary that the guru is physical. It could be otherwise as well, but that is also rare. But sometimes even the birds can tell you the messages that it needs to be telling you. Deliver it. And it sounds very unscientific in that sense, but every moment a message is being given. If you can catch it, that's up to you. If you cannot catch it, that's up to you. And a lot of people might resonate what I'm saying, that every moment you get a message, you don't realize that it was a message that was given to you to put you on that path. What do you think what I said?
Well, Mother Teresa didn't need a guru, and Mother Teresa did some of the most amazing work in the world, and she was a tremendous light. And I think she was an awakened soul, and she herself, her bhakti, her service was to her guru, which was Jesus Christ. So again, it's a very mysterious thing, and it's based on the human heart and the call. I do feel, just for my own path, I'm so grateful that I do have a living tradition. And living tradition, let me just define that for you. Living tradition means that it's never been broken, that it's been passed from one human to another human throughout time and has not been broken from human to human. And that I feel so grateful and blessed that that is part of my life. You're right that it can be different for different people. And I myself have no idea what another person needs. I just, I know that I myself am grateful, and that there's been many, many times where being in a living tradition has helped me, has protected me from things I know that were unhelpful. Like, that's one of the things, is when it's a living tradition, they're like, don't go that direction, go this way. Because they've, like your
They have
grandparents
lived
might,
it. They have lived
they've
it.
lived it. Like,
They
don't do
know.
that particular practice when you have little kids, or just see what I'm saying? And it's such, so here's the thing, like, unconditional love is unconditional, has no conditions.
And there is such a
Compassion,
thing as unconditional love. People think there is not a sort of thing in West, like, oh, there's no unconditional love. It's all, but you don't know yet. You haven't seen it, but it's being showered on you every moment.
every moment. And it's your choice to just, open to it. And here's the thing, I also really love this, that we were given this body, this breath, this mind without earning it. We did nothing to earn these great three companions. And yet they are with us from the moment we die till, birth to death. And they serve us so lovingly, like the earth serves us, and the wind and the water. Like, that to me is, if one can just, a person just approaching a path, like, can focus on what a gift it is to even be born human, as the Sandalahari says. So, yeah.
I can tell one thing before we move to the final question. We are going to wrap the Tantra discussion and move to certain thing, the next thing. But I could actually feel your meditation, even though I'm sitting here, and maybe you can feel mine. I don't know that we can both feel each other's uh, meditation, and inherently we both know that, which we cannot say here, but and I know, when we don't need to say everything, but because you talked about Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras, and you talked about Sri Vidya, Tantra, and Yoga Sutra starts the first chapter, the very first chapter, the first verse starts with all of the powers that you gain with yoga. He talks about the powers. In the next chapter, he talks about who is yoga for and all of that things in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. He talks about all of these powers and the gunas that you gain after practicing for prolonged period yoga. And in tantric practices also, they talk about gaining certain powers and certain things. And the very idea of it sounds wrong, that gaining possession, but it is there, right? But I am trying to know that, did your guru told you about these things, that these things exist, or did he rejected it? Like, I'm trying to understand. Again, this is a very personal question. Maybe it's not a right platform to ask this question, but it's important, because this is, a lot of people are seeking that. Maybe they just don't want any enlightenment. They are seeking those powers, or they think, I mean, yes, maybe this is wrong, but it is there, and it is there for a reason, maybe. So I'm trying to know from your side, what did your guru taught you?
Of course, powers are real. And I don't know if anybody's interested, like, go look up Swami Rama of the Himalayas. he was an amazing yogi. He went to the Meniere's Foundation. They did a lot of tests on him. There was a 6-foot wall. They asked him to start a fire with his mind on the other side of the wall, and he could. He rigor mortised his body for a full 11 days, and then he brought it back. He could create a cancerous tumor on his finger and then heal it. And you know what he said of all these things? Swamiji said, these are all parlor tricks. They're great. They're great, but they're parlor tricks. I really want to make sure that I know the utmost divine. Like, that's the big thing. Like, peace of mind. We are all humans. We all seek love. We all seek to be peaceful. Even if we don't know that's what we seek. We all seek connection to something greater. So, yes, and those powers can be kind of attractive, and they can have a lot of momentum. I remember when I first met my teacher, one of my other teachers named Blair, and I talked to him about the same thing you're speaking to me about the yogic powers. That, like reading minds or being able to levitate or bilocate or put one's entire consciousness into a teaspoonful of water. We just sat and had a lovely conversation over chai. And what came out of it was I realized I really want to just be a loving person. I want to know how to truly be what I was created to be, whatever that is. I truly want to be free of fear and in this life. So it made those powers seem a little bit less attractive.
And at the end of the day, this will distract you because they are distractions. There is no doubt they are distractions. This has been said by all of the gurus who have even attained them, that these are distractions. And some of these are not just for fun, they are for protection. A lot of these are for protection, because let's be real for a second. There are things that, again, I'm trying to control here because this is not the right platform to say certain things, but there are things that you need to be protected from when you're on a practice. And there are people who are not good, who are trying to harm you in many ways. And humans are humans, but the threats are not always humans as well. There are sometimes other threats. And
Have you read
and
the Devi Mayam? Because that's all about all the unhelpful forces in the universe. You should read the Devi
the
Mayam.
there
Because that's
was
all, yeah, devils
there
and...
was
Mhm.
devils, and yeah, you talked about it, I think, before when we had a conversation. And I think so, something related to this, similar. I think you talked about this book, we talked about many books that time. So there was a disciple of I forgot the guru's name because we just gone talking, forgot the guru's name. So he looked a lot for his guru and finally found his guru and started learning under him. His name is Shri M. He's a popular, renowned, alive teacher. He started learning under his guru, and he wanted to just touch the Atman, be free, attain enlightenment. That was his goal. Attain that. He was not worried about all of these powers and all of those. He was really not interested in it. But his guru told him, you need to learn these things. And he said, I don't want to. Just teach me how to touch the Atman, be free. And I don't want that. But you have to, because if you don't learn it, then how will you protect yourself? How will you? You don't know what will come next, because this is a lifelong thing. And the biggest misconception is this, that the guru will give you enlightenment. He cannot. No guru can give you enlightenment. He can put you on the right path, and no one can give it. This is the first point, because there is no outside agency that will come and present it to you in a gift box. Like, this is enlightenment. No, that is your own inherent realization. And the guru puts you and guides you into inherently that where to look, because you look the wrong place and he's guiding you to the right place, and he tells you many things that are needed and mistakes that could have been avoided with his guidance. And that's why the guru has been necessary, because even one mistake can destroy your whole lifetime of practice. And this is the thing, even the one mistake can misguide you for your whole life. But one question that, as we move forward and talked about that book, destiny, I mean, it's a big word, isn't it? In the West, it is used in the very different context. But what is destiny? And has your guru talked about certain, like, about it?
Destiny. What's your definition of destiny?
Destiny, in that sense that certain things will happen at certain times. Whatever you do, it will happen. That destiny, that the Western understanding of it, and the all of the around. Has he talked about certain things like this, that this will happen and it has to happen? You cannot do anything about it.
Well, I mean, I think destiny is an interesting concept because when you're free and you're happy, it really, like you, it, if the answer is always, love or compassion, does it matter how the world plays itself out? If you're less attached to where you're going to be destined to arrive at, and you're more attached to being, or more aware of being present in the moment, doing the right thing at the right time, and being present, you are going to create your own destiny because you're going to be present. You're going to be aware. You're going to show up in the right situations, doing the things that are good. Yeah, destiny is an interesting concept, right? And some of it I think is divine grace, and some of it, some things are going to just happen. Now we're talking about the pairs of opposites: loss and gain, insult and injury, right? And those things are just natural to life. That's part of living as a human.
You talked about yoga, you talked about meditation, and a lot of people are also interested, as they are beginning their journey, or maybe they are trying to deepen their journey. They are in that sense, when you can call them the intermediate meditators. They are almost there, into the trying to enter into the advanced stage, but they might be guided to the wrong path. They might try something very wrong, to just deepen their practice. But I want to understand some practice that you would like to recommend, that anybody can do, and especially beginners should start with, and something for the intermediate. Advanced, I don't think we need to talk about it. Advanced will find a way. Let's just stay at the basic and intermediate. So can you talk a little bit about some methods?
Sure. One of the methods is the 5 qualities of breathing. That is for everyone right now, right here. That is a very simple practice, and it's a great way to train your mind and body on breath and what breath is. And so it's simply this: it's being with your breathing and noticing if your breath is short or long, if it's choppy or smooth, if it's noisy or quiet. So you have to sit there with your breathing and just allow. You're not trying to change anything. You're noticing the qualities of your breath. And if you just sit right now and you be with your breathing, like, oh, I can hear it. Okay. And now you're with the sound of it. And then the sound slowly changes. The more that you practice this, and having no pause in between inhalation and exhalation, Swami Rama is quoted as saying, most and all disease, whether mental, emotional, or physical, lies in the pause of the breath, lies in when we breathe out and we hold, or we breathe in and we hold. It can cause a lot of all kinds of dis-ease, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So just a few times a day, if you sit down and you just notice, I'm working towards having no pause between inhalation and exhalation. That's it. The Western mind likes to complicate things, wants it to have an
Yes.
app, wants it to be confusing, wants it to be hard, wants to have to do something to get it. Here's the thing, I'm out here talking about this because the simpler you make this, the more profound it becomes.
And it is simple. Truth is
It
simple.
and breathing is simple. We're all gifted that. We're all gifted the grace of breath. And we're all gifted the ability to have awareness with breath.
And I would like to also add this very much because you do breathing work and I think you are very well aware of it, but I like to add this. As you deepen your practice in breathing, any sort of breathing practice or even meditation in the sense, and even meditation, breath comes automatically when you meditate, right? As you go deeper and deeper and deeper, your meditations becomes deeper and deeper. You will notice one thing very shockingly. Scientists say you need you breathe 40 times a minute. 40 times you breathe inherently, not like this. Inherently, I'm breathing. This is 40 times a minute it happens. But as you go deeper and deeper with your breath work or in meditation, you would notice you will need less and less breath per minute because you're
Mm-hmm.
conscious and you don't need that much now. Only one is enough per minute. And it can be reduced to this much very easily once you go deeper and deeper. It's not a one day thing, but it can happen. And I can tell you from my experience, and I think you will confirm that what I'm saying. Am I saying right, Sondra? About
Mm-hmm.
that as you go deeper, your breathing will become less and less. You don't need to take that much breath because you're even conscious of your breath. You're even conscious of your every movement, every second your hand, you're conscious. This is the peak right now. We don't even know we are sitting, why our legs are shaking. We don't know. I was meeting this person. I was saying, why you're shaking? They said, oh, and he said, oh, I didn't notice my legs are shaking.
Mm.
Your body, your legs, that you don't know, that shows how much have we lost our control. Everything is happening like a yantra means like a machine, like a device. Everything is happening automatically. Breathing is happening automatically. Everything is automatic in our body if you look closely. And nobody is conscious. We are not conscious. We think we are conscious. We are not. The moment you start meditating, you will really see where you are. And the people who pray a lot have really not prayed, because if you had really prayed, you would understand silence. Chanting a name is not prayer, to be very honest, until you go too deep into that. Unless you can say Hare Krishna, Rama Krishna, Jesus, and all of that, names can be there. It's not a big problem. But how deep can you go within that name? How deep can you go? You can go with the name, that's no problem. But how deep can you go into that name's silence? And in the silence, you would find him. Whatever you are searching, you will find there. Everything is there. And with the breathing, as I'm just going to conclude it, as you go deeper, you would need less and less. And after a while, you can stay for a while without breathing. And for a long time that even the swimmers cannot be, you can be. And what about mantra? Before we conclude the methods, you talked about the breathing. What about mantra? And do mantras work? And I'm asking because a lot of people think, what does, like, how can this mantra, like say I'm talking about a very basic mantra in the Eastern philosophy from Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, which is a mantra for Shiva. How can that really be enlightening? How does mantra really work? What is the science behind mantra? Can you talk a little bit about the mantra method?
Mm. Mantras, like yantras, are machines too. They're awakened sound. So the sages of Patanjali, Vyasa, Vashishta, in deep Buddha, in deep states of meditation, experience these sounds, and then these sacred awakened sounds have been passed from human to human. Think of it like this. A lot of us in the West, we have basements. We have a basement in our house, and usually the basement is full of a lot of stuff. So my teacher would always say to me, like, when you go down into a dark basement full of things, you want a bright light. So the subconscious mind can be full of a lot of things. You talked about you need protection. So mantra, when awakened and given from an awakened person, or it is an awakened mantra, and there are unlocked mantras for all humans, it's like that light to go into the subconscious of the mind so that you don't get lost in unhelpful patterns, or you don't self-identify. You have something there just to guide gently and lovingly. These sounds, they're like turning on a bright light, potentially in a dark space.
The mantra, like let's say I'll go with the Buddhist one. Buddham Saranam Gachami, which is I surrender myself to Buddha in the very context. The mantra, Buddha said there is no God. This is the first context. The first sutra of Buddha is there is no God. There is no other being that will help you in your enlightenment. Then why we pray to Buddha? We are not praying to Buddha using that mantra. Very wrong notion. The mantra of Buddha is Buddham Saranam Gacchami. You are inherently surrendering to your own self. Looking back to your own, that is a surrender also. Very deep thing, might a lot of people might miss this. Okay, I know this, what I'm saying. But it is who know, they know what I'm speaking about. That mantra is not to some Buddha up sitting. There is no other a Buddha sitting up there who's listening to that mantras. He's not waiting for that. That mantra is actually inherently for you. And it is very hard to understand, it is very hard. Definitely it might raise so many questions like I'm praying to myself. No, 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 no. Very wrong notion. There is no you to pray. It is something within you that is you are praying to. And that is what you are looking for. You think something will come from outside and you will gain enlightenment, but the very moment enlightenment come, you will laugh. You would think like it was. That's what the gurus have said. It's not my words, okay? This is what the gurus have said. Whatever you searched outside, you found it here. How? How could those experiences come? The kundalini to chakra to all of this. How? Because it was always there within you. Always. And it is still there. You are looking. And it will come. It might take time. For somebody, it might happen tomorrow. Some might take forever. It might not happen. But don't worry. Just be consistent on that path, and it is leading you. Just listen to that voice. It is not. Gurus can misguide you also, but that voice will never misguide you. If you listen to it rightly, it will take you where it needs to take you. That is the voice the guru tells you to listen. Guru does not force you to believe his words. Guru tells you, don't believe in my words. I am going to clear you for all the dust so you can fill yourself with the information you need. I'm not going to fill you with information. I don't have anything I can give you. The real Guru will never give you any kind of those things. He does not care. And he is going to shatter your beliefs. A real Guru will shatter all your dreams. Let me tell you this. He's going to say, this is all the picture you have made. Just remove those things. We are really going to get practical. Again, this is some gurus might foster those dreams. I'm not sure, but most gurus that I have seen will shatter all of those. What about your guru? That did he completely say, okay, forget all of this. We are going to get serious now. What was your guru? What did he say?
You never kick a person when they're down, and it takes time to learn things. And true love, again, means it's the thing that opens the most hearts and calms the most minds for the longest period of time. And, in the beginning, I was kind of coddled and loved into the tradition and just given and taken care of. And then as I grew, I was spanked a lot. Like, nope, not that way, this way. Like, nope, nope. So, yes. And when a person's new on the path, they're definitely a lot more loving and aware of the student. I wanted to go back a little bit on the breath and talk just briefly that when you were saying that the breath slows, it becomes so much more subtle, like you were speaking about, and your relationship and understanding of the breathing becomes super subtle. And like everything calms down, the mind, the breathing, the central nervous system, where everything just becomes super subtle. And that can only be known through experience. So a lot of things that we're speaking about, a person really has to just go in there and experience for themselves,
Words can be words, but the moment you experience it, changes you. And I can talk about myself, not too much, but I used to think about this. The Patanjali Sutras to Bhagavad Gita. All of the books mention about this, I think, in some way, sort of way, that it is unsayable. It cannot be conveyed. Even if you want to, you cannot. And I used to think, I mean, it could be something. What is it? Just a glimpse or something? What is that which cannot be conveyed in words? It is just nonsense. I used to think these people write anything. But the moment you had a experience, a really a experience, not just a illusion, people call this is Kundalini or that is no, really a experience, and you would know it is, because it would be so significant. It would be so significant that everything would change. The whole veil will fall. The veil, which we call, maybe in the West they call it the matrix, that will fall for a second. It will be for a limited time, but it will fall. And then you will see what they are trying to telling you for as hero. And then you know it cannot be conveyed. Because it's a simple thing. I describe always this as an apple. You can tell you have a children, right? You can tell
Hmm.
your children about that. Hey, this is this great orange apple. Orange apple. I've never heard about orange apple, mom. But you can say, no, no, I have eaten such apple. There is such apple. I'm telling you. Okay. So he goes, okay, I'm very curious. Tell me, mom, how is the taste of this apple? Please tell me. And you start describing it. It is blissful. It is very tasty. It's very fruitful. When you eat it, this is what happens. But he will make assumptions according to his beliefs. You can make many fantasies, but all will fall until, because you are just imagining it. You don't know. And that's the problem with when Patanjali writes it, when what your guru says is, those people will not understand, because words will not fulfill it. Words can give you the idea of, according to you, this could be it, this could be it. But the true gurus will never say it, because they know they cannot be said. Once you have it, you will know that what they have been trying to tell you. But let's go to a different topic, because we are on breathing and methods. Before we wrap it up, because we are closing this onto the next segment, as one of the only 200 people who is certified to teach Vishoka meditation, can you explain the essence of this practice and how it promotes what you call that? I think you mentioned sorrowless joy. That is what it's called. Like, how can it do that? Please explain about it.
So it's systematic. It is a systematic process. It's a systematic practice and approach. It's done very gently. And it's over, usually when I teach Vishoka itself, it's a 6-week process with people. Twice a week for 6 weeks, we practice. And then I have a student here and I check back in with her, but it's a practice that's taught, and it's taught very gently, very approachable, in a systematic way. It's not a one-time thing. So, sorrowless joy is the definition of Vishoka. Vishoka is a practice of meditation. It's a form of meditation. If you're specifically asking me what it is, it's a teaching, and it's done over 6 weeks. It took me a little under 4 years to be able to become a meditation teacher for this, and daily
Who
practice
taught
and
you
study.
it? Who taught you it?
My Pandit Rajmani Tiganayat, Ishan Tiganayat, Shelley Anderson, Sandy Anderson. These people, they're the senior teachers at the Himalayan Institute. And I'm in a
And
group of other teachers that teach it.
and is this method created by them in that essence, or it's a very, if I have to call that, a very old method that they are teaching basically in their institute? I'm trying to understand its origin and history rather than asking what it is exactly.
Oh, okay. Its origin, yeah, it's from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Specifically,
Yes, I have heard this term Vishoka. It's his Patanjali Yoga Sutra. He mentions about it. It's the same method.
yes. It's a method. There's a
Oh,
method, and it's spoken about in Vishoka. Excuse me. It's written about in Yoga Sutra 2, Yoga Sutra 1, all
yes.
the way through 3. So it, and it's not esoteric. It is very approachable. It's approachable for all people, but it does require live teaching. Like this is not something, as a Vishoka teacher, we cannot pre-record and put out information. We have to be with the student because
Present.
present,
In person
because
or
no, you can do it online. You can have Zoom meeting. But there is a level of transmission that occurs during Vishoka that has to be done live. And there's
and
homework.
what about Vipassana? What is the difference? Like, are there a lot of difference between Vipassana and Vishoka? For the listeners, I'm trying to ask.
And Vipassana, you mean like define Vipassana for me, like
The Buddha's meditation, the from the Buddhist Vipassana. I mean, they
the
both have
Kriya,
a
like Kriyas.
it's similar in the Kriya. Like, you do the Kriya, but it's similar to that Vipassana. So you can call it Kriya too in the essence. And there are a lot of methods, like I mean, so many we can talk about, and the whole podcast we can talk an hour about just methods. But definitely, I'll let you complete the sentence what you were completing about
So
Vishoka.
Vishoka is the state of sorrowless joy, and it is in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. And Panditji wrote a really great Yoga Sutra definitions. It's called The Secrets of the Yoga Sutra. And you can get that on Amazon. You can get it from the Himalayan Institute. And Vishoka 133 is all about not just practicing the attitudes, but also excuse me. Yeah. So anyway, that's where it is. And that's kind of what it is. And it can become a daily practice so that it puts the person on the path of meditation.
But you
It puts
cannot talk about it publicly in the sense you cannot tell the method here. That's what I'm getting. You need to.
it's too large. It takes it's 6 weeks of interaction. That and for people right now, it would begin with the awareness of breathing, because it takes the student not just through asana. It takes the students through the 4 pillars of yogic lifestyle and healthy living. It takes the student through pranic awareness. It takes the student through relaxation methods, and then also the different points of the Vishoka meditation itself.
But
So
can
it's
anybody do it? Can anybody do
anybody,
it?
anybody can do it. Anybody. This is available for all humans. This is what we've been basically charged to give others, is this sorrowless joy. And now is such a great time to do it with how much war we have going on, and how people get sad, they get depressed, they get stuck in
Right,
bad relationships or
right.
abusive situations. So now is the time to teach Vishoka.
We talked about mantras before, and you explained very beautifully about it. There are, I will not go in detail about a lot of mantras there are, but just pick up one what do you call the similar syllabus is that Om, and we just pick the Om, right? We just pick the Om, which is the significant part of all meditation, and a lot of mantras begin with it. A lot of not all mantras begin with Om. This is a very wrong notion. No, so some of them don't begin with Om and not even end, and some end with it. So it's a very different affair. But can you talk about just what is the significance of Om as a sound, not as the mantra, but why that sound is so sacred in all of the cultures and yogic practices? Everything it comes down actually back to Om. Why?
That is so mysterious. Pranava. Pranava is Om, the sound of all life,
The creation.
the creation.
Do you think I'm asking in a very with that manner? Do you think that was the sound that brought us here? I
Absolutely.
mean, I don't know. I'm also asking from that because whenever one who hears it, you feel a strange connection to it. Like, I don't know. I mean, am I right about this? The more people hear about it, you feel a strange connection to 'em. And all the religions have it in some sort of a way. They have changed it a little bit, The Christians call it amen. It's the same thing if you just put some mantra in it. It's the same thing with the Eastern. It's just differently said.
Mhm.
And then the Muslims call it Amin. But
Mhm.
just look at me, neen, like the
Mhm.
om, and then
Mhm.
the amen, again
Mhm.
mean, so it's the same thing. They have just changed it a little bit, but they know, and all the cultures have it, all the religions have it in some sort of a way. In the this again points to one sort of truth that is leading you to why. Very again mysterious, and it is and a lot of mysteries, lot of mysteries. And let me clarify, the guru will also tell you that there are so many mysteries of the universe that nobody actually knows. They are just mysteries, and they are meant to be like that, because if everything was open in the sky, wouldn't it be looking good, right? Something has to be remain hidden. But before we wrap this up, one question that I am kind of curious, this whole podcast, we whatever discussed, I think you and me both know what we were talking about. But this is where I need some insight and knowledge from you, because I don't know myself a little bit about this. What the hell is Feng Shui? What is Feng Shui?
Oh.
So please, please tell me what is Feng Shui.
Feng Shui is an art and science that began in uh, the AD, before the birth of Christ, in China. It began as divination. And Feng Shui is pretty much the study of how energy and prana, if we say it in a different language, how prana moves through the land, the water, um, and through human homes. So it's basically the study of how energy patterns arrive on the land. And I'm trained in Chinese feng shui, which is looking at a person's birth year and how their home orients on the land, how the home or the office building orients on the land. Then I'm trained in land formations and how chi and prana move in the land, such as
Is it
why is
similar to Vastu then? Is it similar to
it's
Vastu?
very similar to Vastu, except Vastu has it's a Chinese Vastu, basically.
Yes,
Vastu
that's what
has
I've heard. That's what I've heard. It's a Chinese tradition of like Vastu Shastra in Hindu. So it's
it's the
very
Buddhist
similar.
tradition.
It's a
Hmm.
Buddhist tradition, but
Hmm.
it is very similar. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's very similar. The directions are a little bit different as far as what comes from which direction in
Why then?
Vastu.
Then why we have that? That fat. That okay. Let me be honest. Why is that put? And and when I was there at a place, and I asked him, why do you put that thing there? That golden fat boy, whatever he is. Why did you put that there? And that shopkeeper said to me, this is Feng Shui, the Chinese thing, and it brings a lot of good luck, a lot of money. And I was like, wow. I was really small that time, like a small kid, and that time it really fascinated me actually. So I'm kind of curious then, what is that? Can you please talk a little bit about it, just.
Well, from that system of philosophy and art and science, it's said that, like, you have to take the year into account. We're in the year of the rabbit, and it's got a lot of subtle nuances to it. But I mean, it just all depends on what you think luck is. So let's say it that way. Maybe that person really was attached to that, and it helped them. Who knows? So.
you know a lot of one question that I think we should ask definitely to you, and I think a lot of this needs to be addressed, that if you're on the spiritual path, you cannot have a family.
Hmm.
This is the very big misunderstanding that has been understood even by in India, a lot of people, and in the West, of course, that they think the Eastern philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy, you have to leave your family, leave your husband, wife, whatever, and then you can only pursue the path or whatnot. But with what do you say, that with family being like what you call the heart of your life, your family being heart of your
Mm-hmm.
life, and how do you balance the personal or what you call this professional spiritual pursuit in that sense, and how have your family values influenced your journey in that sense, like how they have influenced it and influencing it right now as we talk.
Mm. So I've been married for 27 years to the same man, and we have two beautiful children. And for me, at this point in my journey, my spiritual path, my family and serving my family is worship to the divine. Making the meals, feeding the family, doing the things for my loved ones is one way in which I express my devotion to the divine. And how it's affected my like personal path is they are some of the greatest teachers on earth. These people I live with right here, like they
Every
will
moment.
every moment they
But
just teach me.
one thing, because you're talking about family, attachment, detachment
Okay,
always comes up.
so let's really talk about that because I think you can get a little lost with, well, I should leave my family because I'm going to follow the spiritual path. You know, in this time, you need people living in society like you who are kind and good and who can help other people. We can't all go live in caves right now. That's not the time. The time is to be out loving and serving other people and teaching. And like you're putting out these podcasts that are really, really good and people hear them. And that's the good work in the world. And it's a personal choice if a person's with a family and a person chooses to be in a family. My teacher has a family. Panditji has a wife, two children. He has five granddaughters. My other teacher lives in a family. So family can become the nucleus for enlightenment.
They are not really that thing that will distract you unless you let them. That is one thing you have to understand. You have to understand your things, and not everybody has the same path,
No.
right? But you talked about being in India for Kumbh Mela, like in that sense, and all of that thing. So India, the ancient spiritual land, the beautiful land that everything has come out from when you think about spiritual. So much has come out from there. So much it has given to the whole world that the land is blessed. Definitely. I always say this, I feel blessed to be here. I feel
Mm.
very blessed to be born here. I'm lucky. Because a lot of people, I keep saying this, who are born elsewhere, I'm not saying they're dislucky or something, but it's their journey. But I feel blessed to be born in such a land where everything, the air breathes of enlightenment. This land has given birth to great enlightened souls always, and has and will always give. I guess this is a blessed land. And if you come here, you see it, you feel it, even though it has its own problems, all of that thing that every country has. You come here and you stay, you would realize there is something special. And if you are spiritual, but I'm trying to understand, because you were here and you've been here for quite a few times. Let me tell my listeners, what has your experience been in India like?
I love India. I've been all over the country. So I've been to Delhi, I've been to Khajuraho, I've been to Kamakya, which is in the north. I've been to the south, to Calcutta.
I'm in Kolkata.
You're in Calcutta. Yeah, I liked Calcutta a lot. It's a beautiful city. I think there's just, and I've been to Varanasi. I don't know if you've ever been to
Oh,
Varanasi.
yes, 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 yes. That's very not far from Calcutta, as you know. It's
Yeah.
just not that far, but beautiful. Like Varanasi and Rishikesh. These are
Mhm.
like the spiritual points of the country still. And even though Rishikesh is getting very crowded, you still have it's still there. And if you went to the, because you you are in the Himalayan Institute, you just went to the Himalayas itself, you could still feel it. There is
Mhm.
strong sense that this place has, it is something, there is something there that cannot be described. If you are there, have you
Mhm.
been to Himalayas, by the way, like near that place? Have you been there?
No, not yet.
Do you plan to ever?
I don't know. We'll see
Is
what.
it scary? Is it scaring you?
No, no, no. It's just we'll see what divine providence has for me. Who knows? So.
Last question as we are wrapping this up, and this should be the final bomb that we could drop, and ultimately, death. What is death? And when we think of death, it in a very spiritual context, all religions. all practices, everything has come out because there is death. If there was no death in the universe, then there would be no religion. No Christ have been here and would have changed the world if there was no death. Death is so religion is. Because of that, we have started seeking that what is beyond, and every question has come out from it. So, what has Panditji taught you about? I'm sure you have asked him about all of this. It's not like this is the significant question. So, can you talk about that? And what is death in a spiritual sense?
Oh, that's a multi-layered question. There's death of the ego. There's death of there's death of the body. There's I think the Western mind gets a little scared of death, but death never really hurt anybody. In fact, death itself really helps people move on. It's quite a gracious thing, death. It's just that even in the Yoga Sutras, the great sages say that even they don't, even they have respect and
Right.
still that is one of the last fears that goes in a person's mind is the fear of death because we don't quite know. Our sleep is a baby death. Every night we go to sleep, and sleep is a kind of a cousin of death because we lose consciousness. In that way, we're sleeping. Consciousness is in the waking state, if you will. So death, I feel, is a form of grace and not a popular thing to say, but yeah. And I also think it's very mysterious, and I think as a living human if we lose people and they die and then we feel a sense of loss, knowing that we really never really die, we transform. Energy, Einstein said it, energy can never really die. It can only be
Created or destroyed.
created.
And this question haunted him for a lot of his life, that what happens after death. That's what the question he researched all along, and then he came to the conclusion that it does not die, it cannot be. And let me tell you, because we are discussing death, body can die. Body is not permanent, it is the thing that will pass away. Mind will pass away with it. Your personality will pass away with it, which you created just for this life. But you, no. You are you are cannot, because you were always. You are going to be always, but it is not you, because I have to use the term. There is no other way. But it is not you who's going to die. You cannot, but you are also not. As Buddha said, you are not. This is a very contradicting, paradoxical term. You are and you are not. But that's where the all mysteries are coming along. That you will pass, yet you will not pass. That it will be a continuation, as you said. It will be a continuation to something else. And you might go into all of the other terms. We can talk about reincarnation, all of those things. Those are different affairs. I'm talking just about you. My concern is with you. And the thing is, if you have loved ever in this life, sincerely, full heartedly, and serviced the Lord or the divine, if you call it, whatever it is, that is love in itself. The service is love. This is the first thing to understand. If you have done it really fully, you will pass. Everything will pass. That love will stay. It is so powerful, the energy. One who is near you can feel it. One who is near, it is, have you, because you have never met a person lovable, you don't know what is true love yet. Meditation is easy. The yogis have always said it. This is a very harshful thing I have to say. Might a lot of people not agree to this, but they have said that meditation is easy. You start building the practice slowly, slowly, you will get there. Okay, it is hard to love, because love unconditionally is the hardest thing to do on this planet. Meditation is not that hard. You can stay for long. You can do meditation. You can do many kriyas and all the yogic practices. Those are available in the market. People are selling it. People are giving initiations. Those can be sold, can be given. Your guru cannot give you love. It has to come out from you. Vidya can be given, right? Yoga can be given. Can love be given in that sense? Can he teach you how to love? Can anybody really? He can show you maybe, but it has to come from you inherently, and we all are capable of it. We all are capable, and it will. And the very moment you are have you experienced love for the first time, your life will be transformed. And there is no death for love. Death has no love. And the person who has gone deep into breathing meditation will experience what is death. In that sense, in that moment, you can really experience it, the silentness of it. Do you get me what I'm saying, Sondra? You know what I'm talking about, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add anything?
Um, well, I'm in the land of the living. And when the time comes, as Swami Rama said, you cast the body off like a shoe. The body is but a shoe of the soul, and you just cast it off. So, however
And
that's
change
supposed to
it.
be.
And
And you
change
change
it.
the show. Oh, now I'm going
Change
to
the
wear
house.
I'm going to change the house. You're in a rental unit. Your body's a rental unit. You're only
Wow,
in it for
what a word! What a word to sum it up by your guru. It's such a. It's like, what do you say it again? Can you say it again? Can you say it again, please? Please, can you say it again?
the body is like the shoe of the soul, and you just cast it off. That's what Swami Rama said. You just like, oh, I'm done with that.
Now next.
Next. So, yep.
As we wrap up, what message or insight would you like to leave with our listeners, with especially who are on their own journey? Everybody is on their own journey, right? Of self-discovery or spiritual exploration. Would you like to leave any tips or, I might say, insight for them?
Um, well, let's see. You're not alone. Let's see. I guess some insight too I wanted to give that we didn't talk about necessarily on this particular podcast was, if you find yourself kind of stuck in unhelpful thinking or relationship, or you're not particularly happy with some part of your life, a nice practice that I use that's not particularly esoteric is at night when I go to bed, I'll ask my mind to show me where maybe I wasn't a representation of who I wanted to be in this world. And then the mind will show me, and then I'll ask, please help me correct it. And if you do this little by little, this incremental look at yourself, this contemplation of yourself and your behaviors, your thoughts, speech, and action, little by little, you'll begin to shift. And also using your breath as your guide. So there you go. That's what I have.
And one more thing that we forgot to I mean, we forgot to cover so many things, right? We didn't even cover 1% of I think what you know. I believe you know so much, I believe, and I'm not going to say what I know. I don't know. I'm not going to in that sense, because I know nothing in that sense. But we didn't cover one thing that comes to my mind before we wrap it up. I think we should cover it up. Being in the present.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about this, but I think that is a very big essence of spiritual practice. Breath work, all of this comes down to that, isn't it? We cannot do all the day in that sense, but the presentness is what is going to lead you to the breath work. That is the secret. That is the ultimate secret. Being here, not there, not there, not the left, not the right, not the past, not the future. Here, but how to do that? Actually, it is very hard. You might say, oh, when you meditate, that's when you would slowly become in the present. But is that really it? That's how you really come to the present? Then why that happens that after a while you stop meditating, your mind comes back again? Was that really a illusion what I experienced for during that meditative phase of sadhana? Now, because now I'm not doing it, I'm feeling again the mind has kicked in, it is giving me all these strange thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
All of this question comes, right? So can you talk about it a little bit?
The meditation or present, being
Present.
present.
Be
Mm-hmm.
present.
Mm-hmm. That's a practice to learn how to be present and being present in moment to moment. It's like going to the gym every day. Like you're not going to just get fit because you think you're going to go to the gym once. Learning to become a present person who is like right here with you as I'm with you in this moment in time, That is a learned behavior. You must learn it. And how you learn it is a little by little by little. You start to train yourself. Nope, I'm right here right now. I oftentimes use my body as a way to bring myself more present. If my mind is just floating and going all these different places, I just try to ground in the reality and just become right here, right now. Present is something you do every day. Becoming present is something you do as a practice.
The secret of it is, I would like to sum it up with, in the Bhagavad Gita, the song of the God or divine, we say, Shri Krishna was explaining the secrets of secrets to Arjuna. And, Arjuna said after a while, very strangely, he said that, Shri Krishna, you're talking about all of these things. These are very big things. These are very big things. My mind is very, very wandering. I cannot stay here and there. You're talking about these big things, or this enlightenment, or this divine God, or whatnot. I cannot catch up with you. My mind is wandering 10 things. It is here, there. I cannot grasp of this divineness you're giving to me right now. What to do? How to stop this? How to be with you? What you are saying, and Sri Krishna said this in very beautifully. It will wander. That's its function. Its function is this, it will wander. That's what it is function. But when it wanders, bring it back. Wanders, bring it back. Wanders, bring it back. Wanders, bring it back. Yes, again and again, he says, come continuously bring it back to here, to now, to the present, to the oneness. Train it. Don't let it, it's like a horse. If you let the I don't know what you call that in English, I don't know what you call
Reins.
that in English.
The reins.
So whatever the reins, if you let it go, it will function as it is. But if you take control of it, you can control it. That's the way to point it to oneness and to the one pointness. Unless it will function as it is. That's the thing. It has sitting on the throne that was your throne. Now it is sitting there. It controls you. And I also like to sum up with this. If you really want to see this, look at people. I can tell you this, Sondra. There could be another Sondra who's not spiritual. Her name could be similar to her. She might not be that spiritual or a normal person. And if you meet her, in that sense, and you become friends with her, you know this person really well. So if you tap this button in the remote, she will act in a certain way. They are so predictable. All the people, you tap a button, this person will become angry. You say this thing, this person will become happy. Just praise this, he will become angry. This is very manipulative, but it is. And most people are living like in Yantra. So predictable, so like that. You just tap a button, they are. Are you a machine? You are a human. So this is what I look to sum it up. But I think we have to cover so much. Maybe in someday we can cover that in some time, Mess. But thank you so much for being today on the show and giving so many insights and sharing. I don't know. I would say in the present, sharing so many insights and incredible value to the conversation. And I think we could both contribute something to someone, and who I don't know who this is going to go and really go. But people are going to listen. But who is really going to listen? I don't know. But maybe the divine, where it needs to go, it will go. But thank you so much for giving your time and value to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.
Wait.
Welcome to Luvo. This is your home screen, giving you access to all features like steps counter, water intake, mood check, heart rate, sleep, and gratitude. You can also monitor your steps, heart rate, and sleep by connecting the app with your smartwatch. Experience live meditation, yoga, and healthy eating, all of which is coming soon. Download our free app and start living your best life.